Hello everyone, this is Extra Points, the second edition after last week's inaugural version. I'm Dan, he's Travis. Travis, let's hope that the laces are facing out again this week. What do you say we split the uprights, huh?
Sounds good.
We hope you're having a good Friday wherever you are. Thanks for joining us. Speaking of Friday, let's get right to it, Travis. The big Week 6 prep football game this week is Lodi is at Lakeside Lutheran in a game that probably will, determine the Northern Capital Conference champion. Those two teams are the co-favorites, and they both started 1-0. We'll talk a little bit more about that game in a minute. Travis, why don't you tell us about Westfield's big South Central Conference game tonight against Mauston?
Yeah, Westfield's playing a winless Mauston team, but the reason it's a big game for Westfield is they're trying to start conference play 2-0 for the first time since joining the South Central Conference, so it's a big game for them. A year ago, they beat Mauston 49-46, and it might be a similar shootout this year because Mauston, through 5 games, has already given up over 42 points a game, so they're a little shoddy on defense, so maybe Westfield can take advantage of that. And it appears that in the South Central that Wautoma and Nakusa are maybe kind of above everyone else, which means Westfield, Wisconsin Dells, Adams Friendship, and Mauston are probably kind of battling for one playoff spot. So, whenever those teams play each other, it's big. So if Westfield can start out the conference 2-0, they'll go a long ways towards maybe getting the playoffs for the first time since 1997.
And I'll be at that game, so look for coverage of that game. I gotta say, I'm really excited to be there. I did not think that Westfield was going to be 3-2 at this point in the season after they opened with 2 non-conference losses to start the season. But and for a team that hasn't had a winning overall record since 2008, and they haven't had a winning record in the SEC since they joined that conference in 2002, a win in this game to, like you said, get to 2-0 really could spark a lot of excitement in Westfield as far as prep football is concerned. So, like I said, I'll be at that game. Look for coverage in tomorrow's paper. There's never a shortage on excitement in Lodi when it comes to prep football. So, and there's certainly not going to be this week. Like I said, a big game for the Blue Devils at Lakeside Lutheran. Those two teams really are mirror images of each other in terms of they're predominantly run-first teams, and they both have weapons passing the football that they can take advantage of defenses when they bring 8-9 players in the box. So if I had to pick a key in this game, I would say whichever one of these two teams can make the fewest costly mistakes probably is going to come out on top, just because they really basically look the same, and they both wear white and some variation of blue. So good luck telling those two teams apart tomorrow night. As far as some of the weapons that I talked about, passing the football, Lodi's Nathan Kozio really has been an effective passer. He's completing 55% of his passes. They don't throw it a whole lot, but when they do, he's effective. He's got 500 yards, 7 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. His big target is Ryan Guile, who's got 15 catches for more than 200 yards, and he's got 5 touchdown catches. Meanwhile, Lakeside's got Tyler Doyle, who's, again, they don't throw it a lot, but he's completing 61% of the passes when they do, and he's got more than 500 yards passing and 8 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. So the two passing games there, very similar. Running the football for Lodi, Matt McBride he's averaging more than 100 yards per game. He's got 6 touchdowns. And Drew Davis is the guy for the Warriors. Same deal. He's averaging 100 yards a game and 5 touchdowns, I believe. So, it really, I think, is going to come down to which team makes fewer mistakes. I think it's going to be a close game. Last week, after Lakeside beat Poynette pretty easily, Puma's coach Todd Anderson told me he thinks Lakeside is the class of the conference and the rest of the teams are fighting for second place. And if that's the case, tonight will really show, because I have a feeling that Lodi doesn't necessarily agree with that comment. So should be a great game. We'll also have coverage of that game in tomorrow's paper from our sister paper, the Wisconsin State Journal. So look for that as well. Travis, why don't you run down a couple of the other area games?
Yeah, Portage, who's obviously winless on the year, but this is a big game for them. They're going down to Stoughton, who is the last place team in the Badger South. So this is definitely a winnable game for Portage. Stoughton has lost 4 straight after beating Sauk Prairie in the opener. Last week, Stoughton lost to a Monroe team that was previously winless. So maybe this is a game to be had. These two teams have played each of the last 2 years. Stoughton took both games, so maybe a little revenge factor for Portage. Other key games tonight: Partyville plays Marquezan. A win for Partyville, which they probably should win this game, would make them playoff eligible. Same with Ryle. They're playing a team from Williams Bay that isn't very good. A win for them will make them eligible for the playoffs. And kind of on the other side of the coin, Cambria-Friesland kind of having a down year, and they're playing conference leaders in the Small Trailways Randolph, and if they lose, they'll be eliminated from playoff contention.
Getting to that point in the season when teams start to think about, like you said, those playoff scenarios, and really an exciting time. A lot of teams that maybe aren't going to be in the conference chase can start to think about playoffs, and that's a whole nother incentive to play for. So that Rio-Williams Bay game, don't forget, Rio did beat Williams Bay in the first week of the season. So those two teams know each other a little bit. Whether or not that shows in any way on the field tonight remains to be seen. So anyways, that'll do it for us. Until next week, when I think Travis is going to wear his single bar face mask and do his best Jan Stenerud impersonation. No, I'm kidding. Until next week, everybody, take care.